So, how do you foster a collaborative culture in software engineering teams, especially when balancing remote, hybrid, or in-office setups?
Yeah, it's a really good question, isn't it? Predominantly, the work I'm working in at the moment is with remote teams. We're all remote. We have our face-to-face team building days, and in actual fact, that's really one way of building a good collaborative culture is having those face-to-face meetings. Not everybody can make it, but it's a really good opportunity to do some icebreakers and have a bit of fun, get to know each other, go out for lunch, and so on and so forth. But in the day-to-day of the nitty-gritty at the coalface, having those regular stand-ups and encouraging pair programming. Also, something that I've done recently is where it does depend on having a really well-balanced team. But if you've got a well-balanced team, like, for example, a couple of juniors, a couple of mids and a couple of seniors, then you can kind of create a couple of sub-squads within your team, and you can, extend out the pair programming and to those teams. And then you can do a bit of mix and matching, between the sprints, as long as you can align the completion of work between the teams well. Then once you get a round of work completed, you can kind of, switch and swap the team members around, and they will get to work with different people. And it's really showing a better collaborative culture in the teams that I'm running at the moment by just doing that.
How does the company's overall culture influence the day-to-day interactions within software engineering teams?
This is a really good one. It's so important from the top all the way down, that the objectives for the company match what people at the coalface are trying to achieve. If you don't have that top level objective at the top aligned with what the guys at the bottom are trying to do, it can get really messy. And Shaw's Law, I think, is an absolute perfect example of this, where the results of your software, I'll paraphrase massively, so I do apologise, but the results of your software match your organisation's communication structure. So if you've got poor communication from your company objectives down to your teams, then you will end up with poor software. If you've got great communication structures from your top down to your teams, then you'll end up with great software. But it also, for example, if you're following a domain-driven design kind of team structure, so you've got your company's domain organizational units matching your teams, your cross-functional teams, then that's also really important, because people then know what they're doing, and for people to know what they're doing, you'll get good results.
What are some common signs that an engineering team's culture might be becoming unhealthy, and how do you address them before they impact performance?
Yeah, it's a good one, and picking up on this, because one of the first signs for me is communication decreasing. If communication decreases in any way, shape or form, then that's your first red flag. But it's not really data driven. You can't really point a finger at somebody not communicating. You can't say that's the reason why things are starting to go wrong. Whereas employee net promoter score, on the other hand, is absolutely a method that can be used to pinpoint where things are going wrong. So if you end up with one outlier on a employee net promoter score, then it can be a little bit confusing, because one outlier isn't indicative of something going wrong. But if you get a couple of outliers on ENPS that start to point to a specific area, then you as a manager, you can pick up on that very quickly, and you can say, right, okay, I know something needs to change. The what, that's the difficult part as well. But in terms of common signs, definitely communication decreasing, and then EMPS is a really good tool to identify from there. Also, People leaving, obviously, it's a classic. If people are leaving, you've got high turnover. That's not a good thing. That shows that culture in the organisation is not good if people are leaving and you're having to recruit often. And also conflict and blame shifting. If that's happening more, I mean, we want healthy conflicts, of course we do, because healthy conflicts is where you're making decisions and you're finding solutions. But frequent conflicts that are resulting in blame or blame shifting, that's another thing that I would look at for sure.